The love that dare not speak its name. Our next guest is a teen who decided to stand up for what he loves and believes in. John DiGiacobbe loves fossil fuels, so he wore a pro-fossil fuel shirt on Earth Day. The result? He was cyberbullied, and his teachers did nothing to stop it. Well, John joins us now from Cleveland, Ohio. John, great to see you. I feel like I'm looking in the mirror when I see you. I tell you, that shirt looks great on you, but your classmates didn't like it much at school. What school do you go to?
I go to Highland High School in Medina, Ohio, sir.
And what did they say when you walk in, I love fossil fuels? I mean, for God's sakes, we all love fossil fuels. If we drive, if we heat our home in the winter, even the fuels that go into petrochemicals and plastic in our iPhone, we all love it even if we don't admit it. What did your friends say at school?
There was a lot of negative reaction to the shirt. People gave me some dirty looks. There were some people making snarky comments at me, saying that, why are you wearing this? Why are you supporting these things? And it was just not a good situation at school. But the real firestorm happened later that night on social media, where kids who might not have the courage to say things to you straight to your face go behind their computer screens or their iPhones and start tweeting and Facebooking and saying some very negative and derogatory things to you. So that's where the majority of the insults came from. I was told that I was, too rich to care and too white to know, assuming that I was ignorant for, even daring to support something such as fossil
and then there's even some weird anti-gay stuff, to vote Don DiGiacobbe and then to suck a D-I-C-K and like this tweet of let's start cyberbullying. There's just a lot of weirdness there. I got a theory here. I just met you a minute ago. I got a theory is that you can stand up to this BS, and you frankly wanted a teachable moment to remind your friends and your frenemies at how much we rely on fossil fuels. I'm going to guess that you loved the debate because it allowed you to make a point. Am I right?
Oh, yes, sir. I love discussion. I want to talk about this. It's something that nobody really cares to talk about today because they are so bombarded with indoctrination and propaganda from the media and professors. And this is a discussion that I want to have. We owe our lives to fossil fuels and natural resources. They provide so much for us. And showing my support on Earth Day was a way to initiate discussion with people that wouldn't agree with me necessarily. But unfortunately, that discussion did not happen. Out of maybe 10 to 20 people who were insulting me over social media, only one person actually wanted to have a discussion or a debate over my stance on the issue, which really saddens me that this is how our society has become, where we can't even engage in a discussion. And we claim that the left claims that they're so tolerant of other views and accepting of other people's opinions, yet when you actually try to put it out there, they don't seem to take it that way. They seem to attack, they insult you. It's the groupthink that occurs, and it's not a good situation.
Well, groupthink is exactly why, because I think you blew people's minds when you said, I love fossil fuels. I mean, I wrote a book called Ethical Oil, and people freaked out because they thought you can't put the word ethical and oil together. I said, well, I just did. Why don't we talk about it? When you say I love fossil fuels, we're so used to hating fossil fuels. When someone comes out with a straight face and said, no, actually, I like it. People don't even know how to act because I don't think they're thinking when they say they hate fossil fuels. I think they're just sort of repeating a message track, a cliche they've heard 100 times that they actually never really even thought about. Because if they thought about it, they'd say, well, I drove to school either in my own car or on a bus, and I heat my home either with natural gas or fuel oil, and this iPhone I'm using to insult this guy is made with plastic from petrochemicals. And so I don't think people who say I hate fossil fuels have even thought it through. Do you think after your sartorial display that anyone changed their mind, or do you think you just revealed them to be closed-minded?
Oh, I sure hope so. I hope I really inspired some people, if you will, to take more of a critical look at it. The people that were insulting me, unfortunately not. After I put the blog post out, after I exposed their hypocrisy, they continued to insult me. They continued to call my stance on the issue a joke. So unfortunately, the closed-mindedness is still present with those people. However, I really hope that those who may not have been insulting me or may not have had an opinion on the issue at first now can understand my stance on it, why I'm passionate about it, and how the natural resources and fossil fuels that we use in our everyday lives really benefit them. I really hope that there are some people out there that have watched or have seen what's gone on over the past few weeks that are now realizing, wait a second, maybe these things are good for us. They are helping me to be productive in life. And I'm just going to hope that that's what happened.
John, you know, I mean, I interact with protesters all the time, and I love their insults. They're actually even a little rougher on me. I like it. I dish it out as well as I take it. But here's the thing. I mean, I encounter all sorts of protesters. When I see a PETA protester, you know what I'm talking about? People for the ethical treatment of animals.
Yes.
I'll give them this. They're a little wacky, but when they say you ought not to eat meat, they themselves are vegetarian. So it's not like they're eating a big dino rib. Well, so you shouldn't eat meat. They're at least consistent enough that they eat, like, you know, celery and carrots while they tell you that. But the folks who hate your fossil fuel shirt, they're not living what they preach. It's not like they're wearing just sheep's wool and leather and bicycling around and living like the Unabomber. They are living a high carbon lifestyle. That's the thing. At least I can respect the pure nuttiness of a PETA activist who himself or herself is a vegetarian.
Yeah.
But the folks going after your love for fossil fuels, they sort of have a backdoor love, a secret love, a love on the down low for fossil fuels that they won't sing about. Like, you're very public about it.
Yeah, no, it's completely true. It's the hypocrisy there. It's so baffling to me. You have these environmentalists that rail against fossil fuels consistently, yet they use them in their everyday lives, even if they don't realize it. And what I always find extremely funny is that the environmentalists that are so for solar power, wind energy, and whatnot, they don't even realize that in order to construct those materials to make these, you know, great renewable resources, it takes fossil fuels. It takes fossil fuels to transport them. It takes fossil fuels to construct them. So even if you're trying to get renewable energy, the fossil fuel aspect still comes into play. And it's completely hypocritical. And it honestly baffles me. They don't understand the immense amount of benefits that they're being utilized in order to have these capabilities to go on Twitter, per se, and insult someone.
John, I really enjoyed our talk today. You know, I hope you keep up the fight. I get the feeling we'll hear a lot more from you. Thanks for joining us today.